Alright, now we're dealing with how to draw a circle graph. The whole bottom part of these notes is going to be this side of the table and how to make like sector angles and like actually drawing it. We're taking the same thing, same circle graph, same situation. Top part using, bottom part drawing. So this is what our finished project is going to look like. And I just want to draw your attention to the degrees, because what all of these angles are called, like this one, this one, this one, this one, all of the angles are called sector or, didn't leave myself enough space, sector or central angles. Okay, and then the sum of all of these angles, like when you add 36 plus 54 plus 90 plus 180, you're gonna get 360 because it's a circle. So we did get a peek at the finished project, but now let's pretend we never saw the circle graph. Never saw that. We only know the percentages. If we just know the percentages, how do we make this circle graph? Step one, we need to find all of the sector angles. Sorry, it's kind of skewed. So to find the sector angles, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the percent as a decimal, multiply it to the total degrees of a circle, 360, and that's how we'll get a sector angle. So let's just go ahead and start with 50%, our chocolate. Take our percent as a decimal. If you can't remember, oh, we don't have it as a decimal. That's right. As a decimal, it is that. Multiply it to 360 degrees, and we get our first sector angle of 180 degrees. So this is also listed in our chart here. So we go 50% one more time, 0.50 times 360 equals 180 degrees. 15%, 15 divided by 100, or you move the decimal spot over 2 times 0.15 times 360, and you're going to get 54 degrees. 10%, the decimal over 2 spots, 0.10 times 360, 36 degrees, 25%, 0.25 times 360 equals 90 degrees. And again, I wanted to show you the total. So the bottom is the total, 100%, 1.00 times 360 degrees, 1 times 360. So if you were looking at a whole, you would look at a whole circle. Alright, we have all these beautiful sector angles. Now, how to draw a circle graph from there. Step 1, draw a circle. I already drew a circle, so there we go. Done. 2. So use a protractor. The first step with drawing it is to draw the radius. If you had drawn this circle with a compass, you should have your center point already. So you draw the radius with a ruler, of course, straight down. Next step is to measure the angle. You're going to start with the smallest angle. So I'm going to start with this 36 degrees. I'm going to measure 36 degrees from this radius. Now, if you're like me and you forgot to get a real protractor. Thank goodness for Google. I Googled this protractor, sized it just right, and I cut it out. So if you don't have a protractor, you can solve your own problem with Google if you have a printer. If you don't have one, you know what? You can sketch it. Just try and sketch it. But I'll show you with my newfangled protractor. You line up that guide right on that dot. And this can be hard with one hand, but I'll try and show you. 36 degrees. With 30, 40. 36 degrees. Well, there's 35. Oh, one-handed. So that's 35, 36. It's pretty close. You take that. After you make that mark, you connect the dots. So there's that one dot, and then there's the center point. Go right there. Again, one-handed. This is gonna be pretty impossible. Let's see if I can get my elbow in there. Get elbow in there. Draw that line. Boom! That's 36 degrees. Just like that. So we drew the other leg. Next step is to start the next sector where the previous finished. So let's find the next sector. Go back up to our chart. We did 36. Let's look at 54 degrees. That's our vanilla. So we go here again. We take our protractor. We line up that little dot to the guide. Just like that. And 54 degrees is right about here. 54, about here. Just before that 55. You know what? Because I used graph paper, it's lined up pretty good. So 54 degrees is pretty close to this line here. Follow this line in. I don't need a ruler. And that's 54 degrees. Alright. I went ahead and finished all the rest of the sectors. The last step is to label each sector with the name and percent. Just like that. Just like that. But for the purposes of these notes, I thought it best to leave it with the sector angles. That sums up drawing a circle graph. I hope you enjoyed that super long movie.